Thank you and good evening and welcome everyone to the City of Oxnard Planning Commission special meeting. We are starting tonight at 7 p.m. A quick housekeeping item. In accordance with Assembly Bill 361, members of the commission, public and staff will be participating via teleconference. As shown on the agenda and online, please email all written public comments to planning@oxnard.org. Those wishing to speak may visit oxnard.org/city-meetings to fill out the speaker form or by calling 805-385-7878 by 3 p.m. the day of the meeting. During the meeting, a 3-minute opportunity will be given to the public for additional members to participate. Please view the bottom of your screens for the call-in number, meeting ID, and passcode. You will then follow the prompts and be connected to the meeting. When participating in the meeting, please keep your microphones muted until your turn to speak. Because the meeting is electronic, all votes will be done by roll call. Lastly, for presenters, when needing to advance to the next slide, please clearly state next slide. With that, we'll now go to our Madam Secretary to establish our quorum.
Chair Chavez,
Here.
Vice Chair Ovejo,
Here.
Commissioner Connolly,
Here.
Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Meyer,
Here.
Commissioner Nash,
Here.
Commissioner Sanchez is absent, and we have a quorum.
Thank you for that. We'll now move to our next item, which is our Pledge of Allegiance. We'll have our Vice Chair lead us this evening. Commissioners, after we are done with the Pledge of Allegiance, if we can have a moment of silence. Just last week, longtime serving Ventura County Supervisor John Flynn, the father of our former Mayor Tim Flynn, passed away. He served the Oxnard and Ventura County community very well. So if we can just have a moment of silence after the Pledge of Allegiance. Vice Chair.
Thank you. Please stand if you're able to, hand over your heart and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. We'll now proceed to our next item, which is public comments for items not on our agenda. Members of the public wishing to address the Planning Commission regarding any item that is not on our agenda, but within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission may do so at this time. However, the commission cannot take any actions on items presented during public comments and will be referred to the commission secretary. All public comment speakers will have 3 minutes. Madam Secretary, just to confirm, we did not have anyone sign up for public comments.
That's correct.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and follow AB 361 and have a time for 3 minutes for any members of the public wishing to address the commission on any items not on our agenda, but within the subject matter jurisdiction. May view the bottom of the screens for the calling number, meeting ID, as well as the passcode. Commissioners, at this time, we'll go ahead and take the consent agenda approval from our minutes from our January 13th, 20th, and February 3rd meeting. Is there any additions, revisions that need to be done? Vice Chair Rejo.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. For the February 3rd minutes, under section I, Planning Commission Business, item number 4, it states that Chair Chavez thanked the commissioners for their support in regards to re-electing him. It should be chair instead of vice chair. That's all I see. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any additional additions or revisions? If none, I'll be looking for a motion with the correction as stated by Vice Chair. Commissioner Connolly.
So moved as corrected.
Thank you. Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Secretary, can I have a roll call on the approval of our minutes D1, 2, and 3?
Commissioner Connolly,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Aye.
Vice Chair Weho,
Aye.
Chair Chavez,
Aye.
motion passes.
Thank you. Mr. Colwitz, would you like to make an announcement in regards to the changes to our agenda this evening?
Chair Chavez, thank you for that, and our apologies for the slip up in the minutes calling you vice chair. You would make a great vice chair, but we're happy to have you as a chair as well. So really quick for members of the public, item F1, the Oxnard Organics Cannabis Business Retail Special Use Permit. That item was pulled from the calendar at the last Planning Commission meeting, but this item had been, this agenda had been published before your last meeting. So there will be no public hearing on that item. We're essentially going to skip over that. No action is needed by the Planning Commission at all at this point in time.
Thank you, Mr. Colwitz. And just a correction, the box number is F2.
Thank you. I was reading too quickly.
No problem.
And Chair Chavez, well, I guess we could go ahead and finish up the 3 minutes here, and then we can move into ex parte communications.
Yes. So at this time, Madam Secretary, did we have any additional public members?
No, we don't.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and proceed to our next item, which is our ex parte declarations for public hearings. We'll start with our vice chair.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. I'll be recusing myself on the agenda items F1 and F2 on the agenda as distributed due to federal statutes 18 U.S. Code sections 203 and 205. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Connolly.
None, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
None, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Meyer.
None, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash.
None, thank you.
Thank you, and none from myself. So our vice chair will be recusing himself from this item, and we'll proceed to our public hearing item. This is a continued public hearing item for F1. Project name is Blooming Organics LLC, doing business as Elevate Oxnard Commercial Cannabis Business Retail Special Use Permit, Planning and Zoning Permit number 21-516-13, Special Use Permit Cannabis Retail located at 2731 North Vineyard Avenue. A request to permit the operation of a commercial cannabis retail facility within an existing 1,650 square foot commercial suite on a approximately 4,900 square foot multi-tenant commercial building on a 1.58 acre site located in the general commercial plan development zone. Proposed development includes tenant improvements, installation of interior wall partitioning, plumbing upgrades to an existing fire alarm system, security upgrades to an existing building, and installation of new secure doors and windows, and parking lot improvements. Cannabis retail operations will be conducted between the hours of 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. The project also increases the amount of parking on site from 66 to 69 parking spaces and requests an administrative parking relief to allow for a decrease in the number of required parking spaces required by the center from the required 88 parking spaces to 69 parking spaces. This is filed by Mario Rios. Our city staff person is Jose Coyle, Associate Planner. It is the recommendation to the Planning Commission to find the project to be categorically exempt from environmental review pursuant to CEQA Guidelines Section 15301, existing facilities, and adopt a resolution 2022-XX approving planning and zoning permit number 21-516-13, special use permit cannabis retail, subject to certain findings and conditions. As a reminder to my colleagues and the public, a pre-recorded presentation is available on the city's website in accordance with Measure M. We'll now turn to our city staff for any comments on this item.
Yes, Planning Commission. Good evening, everyone. We had one comment to highlight is that transmittal memo 1 was sent out to the Planning Commission, was also posted on the website, and I made reference to one additional comment that was received after the community workshop and prior to this meeting. And that's all I have as an update. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Commissioners, if there's no objection, we'll turn to the applicant team to provide their presentation, and then we'll ask questions from both. Seeing and hearing none, we'll turn to our applicant team. Please introduce your team, and once your presentation is up, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Kevin Kravitsky. I am the CEO of Elevate, and I'm excited to present one of our new locations here in Oxnard. Next slide, please. Here at Elevate, we pride ourselves on providing an elevated shopping experience to everyone who visits us. Currently, there are 2 Elevate locations, one in Woodland Hills and one in West Los Angeles. And we look forward to opening our next location here in Oxnard. Through all of our operations, we have never had any compliance infraction, and we work very hard to preserve that level of integrity. Next slide, please. The retail location is 1,600 square feet in size. The storefront will not have any form of cannabis logos or advertising visible from the outside. Next slide, please. Our store locations are purposefully designed to provide the sense of a luxurious retail location. Architectural Digest recently released an article listing our Elevate Woodland Hills location as one of the 12 most luxurious cannabis retail stores in the US. Inside the store, there are absolutely no live product in reach. Everything is in drawers or displays that would need help of an employee to access. Our inventory backstock is not kept on the floor. All inventory is kept in a secure room off of the floor. Next slide, please. Here you can see the current condition of the shopping center before any of our planned renovations and improvements. Next slide, please. This is a rendering of how the shopping center will look after we complete all planned renovations. Next slide, please. Here you can see the site plans with all improvements that we will be presenting this evening. Next slide, please. We will be adding planters and trees throughout the entire parking lot with native plants that will be irrigated. All of these existing structures will be repainted. Accessible parking spaces will be restriped, and designated bicycle parking spaces will be created. Additional lighting will be added to the driveway aisles and parking areas. To avoid any buildup in the parking lot, employees will not be parking on site. We will encourage employees to use public transportation by providing each employee with a bus pass. The goal of the site improvements is to create safe, well-lit shopping center that is inviting to all potential customers. Next slide, please. Upon entering the storefront, guests will be greeted by a receptionist who will check IDs and allow guests to enter the showroom floor with the help of a bud tender. Past the receptionist is our luxurious showroom floor. This is where bud tenders will guide guests through the store and provide insight wherever possible. Once guests complete their selections, they will head to the register for checkout. Behind secured doors will be our back-end operations. This area is not accessible to guests. Only employees will have access to this area. Elevate ensures that all of our staff members are experienced and knowledgeable about all the products we carry, especially those that cater to our medicinal customers. We regularly invite representatives from our brands to come in and provide specific product training to our staff as well. On a day-to-day basis, we see patients who suffer from a range of medical conditions such as chronic pain, cancer, epilepsy, etc. Our staff instructs our patients on how to use products in the safest and most effective manner. Next slide, please. At Elevate, we pride ourselves on contributing to each and every community we belong to. We look to bring jobs to the community and commit to hiring locally. Elevate has committed to a profit sharing program with our employees to further incentivize and support our staff. Elevate has committed to starting wage of $20 an hour and health benefits to all employees. Elevate also has an LPA agreement in place with UFCW 770. We understand how important employees are to our business, so we do our best to keep them motivated and properly compensated. Here at Elevate, we believe in promoting from within and providing every employee with the same opportunity of upward mobility. We regularly promote employees from entry-level positions into management positions, giving all of our staff an equal opportunity to grow within the company. Next slide, please. We believe in genuine commitment to each community we operate in. As proof of our continued commitment to the community, we host an annual holiday toy drive to give back to local families and children in need. This holiday season, we took part in a toy drive ran by the Oxnard PAL and look forward to continuing this tradition. We're so excited to give back and begin connecting with the community we hope to call home. Additionally, we see each community that a store is located in as a partner. We've also recently held a virtual open house to encourage any open dialogue within the community. We wanted to hold a time to listen to any concerns or questions and go ahead and answer them. Not everyone may be as excited to see us here, but we want to be sure that we can allow them the opportunity to be heard and whatever possible, make adjustments to reach and compromise so that all parties can be happy. Next slide, please. In the event where a community member has any concerns or questions, we have set up procedures in order to best hear them and provide a solution. We have appointed a director of community outreach, Adrian Lopez. Any questions or concerns may be directed to Mr. Lopez, who will then follow up with a community member with a solution. We look forward to hearing back feedback from the community. Next slide, please. Here at Elevate, we take the safety of our staff and the community incredibly serious. We have trained security on site during operating hours, video surveillance, and a security protocol for each location. After hours, we plan on using a live monitoring feed to monitor the location. We went in this direction after listening to the advice of Scott Swinton, a member of the Oxnard police community. Our team focuses heavily on ID verification. No customers allowed in the view of products without a valid form of ID. Any underage visitors will be immediately removed from the property. We do not permit the sale of products to those under the legal age of consumption under any circumstances. We have had locations near schools and other points of interest that garner a younger crowd, and we have never had any issues with preventing unauthorized minors onto the property. At each location, the first step is to have each guest ID checked and verified. No ID, no entrance. Next slide, please. I would like to thank everyone for your time this evening. The last thing I would like to do is introduce myself again, along with my team. I'm Kevin Kravitsky, the CEO, Nicholas Keefe, Chief Operating Officer, Mario Rios, Chief Product Officer, and Adrian Lopez, Director of Community Outreach. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you for the presentation. We'll turn to our commissioners for any questions that they have of the applicant team or from city staff. Commissioner Connolly.
I just had a quick question about ID checking. You said in the beginning that the receptionist checks the ID, but is there additionally going to be somebody at the door, a security person that checks IDs as well?
Absolutely. At every location, we have a receptionist, and we also have a security guard that will be present up front with the receptionist at all times.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. And this is for the applicant and his team. You mentioned price point in your presentation. And just for my own education, because this is such a heavily regulated and taxed product, how do you find a different price point? Is it based on quantity or quality or type of product or a combination of all those factors?
Every demographic is kind of different, but we have pretty much like 3 different tiers, which would be like a lower end tier, a mid tier, and a high end tier when it comes to flowers, edibles, CBD products. So that way we can cater to everybody, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you. And another question, and I'm not asking you to reveal any proprietary information. And I'm sorry that for not catching this in the staff report, but will you be offering delivery services?
Yes, sir. We will be offering delivery.
Now, I don't think we've touched upon this subject in all of our other dispensary hearings, but industry-wide, what is sort of the percentage breakdown between in-store sales and delivery sales? Are you aware of any studies?
Absolutely. I could actually use our Woodland Hills location where we keep track of all the analytics and whatnot. At our Woodland Hills location, we see about 75 to 80% is storefront walk-ins, and the other 25-30% is deliveries. That's kind of gone down from last year and the year previous during the pandemic. At a certain point, it was probably 50-50 or maybe a little bit more on the delivery side. At a certain point, the city of Los Angeles was also allowing us to do curbside pickup, which was also very popular during the, the lockdowns and all that. But again, now that things have, somewhat, opened back up, a lot of the storefront visits are coming back, especially with the experience you have when you come to Elevate.
Okay, thank you for that. I do appreciate you asking your employees to find alternative ways to get to your store. Is it your intention to try to hire from the local community? Because I think that would be a good way to, hey, if you can walk to your job or bike to your job, that's a great way to go.
To be very straightforward with you, we're planning on hiring pretty much 99% of the employees will be locally from the neighborhood. We'll have some of our management come in for training, but the goal is to hire, within, all Oxnard residents.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all, Chair Chavez.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Thank you. I kind of just wanted to pull the thread on that last question right now that Commissioner Nash just asked, in terms of like, one of the conditions is that for parking and needing to get around circumventing that. And so, your employees are going to have to sign that declaration that they didn't drive there. We had a similar applicant at our last planning commission meeting who, was going to be offering I want to say, or reimbursing their employees even for transportation. Have you all considered anything that far yet, or are you simply looking at the most immediate, like surrounding neighborhoods where people could easily walk to?
We're actually looking into getting vouchers or whatnot for, Lyft or Uber or whatnot. So we already are looking into that, so that way we can offer that along with bus passes. Some people are comfortable taking a bus, some people aren't. So we wanted to at least give the option for our employees to either, again, use Uber, Lyft, or if they are okay with public transit, then, of course, we would offer the passes as well.
Awesome. Great to hear. In terms of the public outreach, I saw in the staff presentation that over 1,000 notices went out to the El Rio West neighborhood. I think there was 11 people that showed up, and then there was no questions or comments that were asked at that public hearing. There was nothing tonight either. Was just wondering, what was some of the reactions that you got from the most immediate neighbors, the other businesses in the mixed use location there? I think it mentioned on one side is a single family homes on the east and west, with commercial on the north and south. Just generally from scoping the site out, meeting the neighbors, what were their general reactions to you all potentially coming in?
You know what? Actually, myself and Adrian Lopez went door knocking, actually to the residences, immediately around the store. And, believe it or not, we had a lot of great responses and a lot of excitement about us coming in. A lot of it has to do with that we're going to come in and really uplift, the parking lot and the building and the surrounding area and bring a lot of beautification. So there's a lot of excitement about that. And, outside of that, there wasn't any negative response that, I personally, had any talks with. Adrian, I don't know if you have anything else you would like to add on that in regards to
Yes, if I may add to that, Commissioner Dr. Lopez, I actually met with Dan Reitberg from the El Rio West Neighborhood Council.
Nice.
And he was welcoming. I asked him about like the response when it came down to like the outreach or anybody having any questions in regards to the location opening, and he hadn't said that nobody had any issues. They were all welcoming, and like Kevin mentioned, the actual people where we door knocked, they were pretty excited about the site improvements.
Nice. Appreciate it. No other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. So one question was around the beautification, the upgrading of the exterior of the building. So is the situation that you are purchasing the entire building? And that's why you're doing the exterior work on the entire building?
No, we're unfortunately not purchasing the building. We're leasing it, but
Ah,
just to again give back and help out, not only the landlord but also the community nearby. Just wanted to, again, help out and make it look, a lot nicer than it does now, which not sure if you saw those renderings. It's going to be beautiful once we're done with it, God willing. But just this is just a lease, so we're again just trying to uplift the neighborhood, I guess.
got it. Thanks. Yeah, that does look like there will be a lot of additional benefits to your neighbors and the whole shopping center in that way, which is great. So is Mr. Lopez your person as far as outreach for recruitment, or will you have other people and will you have bilingual individuals to do that kind of outreach? Because it's definitely a working class, largely lower income neighborhood that you're finding yourselves in. And so we'd want an opportunity for folks to become aware, to be kind of, if they're interested in employment opportunities, to be given that kind of support and guidance on how to go to the next step. Kind of that assistance to make it more of an equitable process.
Absolutely. We're going to have a job fair in the next, couple months here, and, welcome, the neighborhood or community to come out to at least, give out information about the company and answer any questions for anybody that may be interested. But absolutely, we will be doing some outreach that way with myself, Adrian, Mario Rios, which is our general manager. Several of us are bilingual, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Great. No additional questions at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions from the commission? I just had one question. This commission approved another permit for you guys off of 8th Street, right?
Correct.
Okay. Because I knew I remember this presentation from somewhere. I just couldn't pinpoint it where. Okay. If there's no additional questions from the commission, actually, I'm sorry. Was outreach done for the unincorporated area around this site? I know it was mentioned, Dan Ryberg for a real rest, but was any outreach done on the unincorporated side, on the other side of Vineyard?
Yes, I went door knocking on Struby, and I also went across the street, spoke to the business owners, Carniceria Cuatro Caminos, La Huerta Juice Bar, the multi-services business, and I introduced myself, and they were very welcoming as well.
How many residents were you able to speak with in the unincorporated area?
I spoke to about, I would say 9 to 10 residents. I knocked about maybe like 25 doors, but it was during different times of hours of the day. A lot of people were working, but I spoke to about 9 to 10 individuals.
Okay. Your virtual settings, how many virtuals did you guys have? I think I only heard you held one virtual platform. How many attended that again?
This is Courtney. I can answer that question. We did host one virtual, and there was only about 3 or 4 individuals that showed up for that. And we did notice the area within either, well, this was a little bit ago, it was either 500 or 750 foot radius from the property, and only 3 or 4 individuals that came.
Okay. For our city staff, Mr. Coyle or Mr. Kowitz, the transmittal notice that came in from, what is this, Mr. Bauer, in regards to cars blocking his driveway, do we have any information in regards to that or any response to that comment? Because I didn't see any housing really around this particular location.
Yeah, Chair, Commissioner, Chavez. Yeah, I did look into that matter when the email came in, and that residence is actually next to a multi-tenant strip mall adjacent to the Vineyard Corridor. And it's one of those uses that's legal non-conforming, and it's mixed in there with a lot of C2 uses. And so in that way, there isn't parking for those visiting those tenant spaces. And so it does back up into the drive aisles of driveways if there is a residence there or whatever else is there. And this particular individual does reside in the county. And as far as enforcement and that sort of thing, the issues that are outlined in that letter is because Vineyard is controlled by Caltrans, and then there's that whole issue of it being outside the city limits.
I appreciate that. Any additional questions? Seeing and hearing none, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing for this item. Members of the public wishing to address this item. This is item F1. Project name is Blooming Organics LLC, doing business as Elevate Oxnard. This is time for 3 minutes in accordance with AB 361. You may view the bottom of your screen for the call-in number, meeting ID, and the passcode. So we'll take this opportunity, staff, if you have anything additional information to bring forward.
Chair Chavez, thank you for the opportunity, but staff does not have anything else additional to add at this time.
Thank you. To our applicant team, any final comments?
I think we're good. Thank you, sir.
All right, so we'll just wait out the time and see if there's any person that wishes to speak on this item.
I will say it's great to see that you're feeling better. I know last time we did this, you were a little under the weather from your shot, so it's great to see you're doing better.
Yeah, you know, it was a very interesting process to get that shot. And then I went to get the flu shot also. So what was it? Glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
So
I know the feeling.
luckily it didn't last very long.
No, it usually doesn't.
So that was good.
Did you get the double jab? Did you get the double jab at one time?
No. So I tried to get the flu shot at the same time as the booster, but they're like, oh, we don't have any appointments for the flu shot. And I'm like, I can go downstairs and get it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just come back tomorrow.
Right. I got the double jab, and they actually had this device that held the two syringes, and they, stuck you at once. And I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. I never had that before. Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty
cool.
It's like, don't flinch.
Yeah, that's I don't know how I would respond to having two needles come at me at the same time.
Doesn't sound fun.
Okay, as we enter into the last 5 seconds, I don't see anyone on our call, and I'm sure we didn't have anyone. Madam Secretary?
No, we don't have anyone.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and close the public hearing for this item, and commissioners will move into deliberations on this item. Commissioner Conley.
I just wanted to thank the applicant for their presentation. I failed to mention this to our last applicant, but I do really appreciate your very ambiguous name. I think that's good for the community. And what really stood out for me about your presentation was the building upgrades. I think it's going to look beautiful down in El Rio. I know a lot of us in North Oxnard take that route to go to Ventura, and it's kind of a dead, place until you hit the farmland. So it'll be nice to see those buildings getting some love and hopefully some cars in your parking lot. So I do intend to support this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional comments or deliberations? Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. I just want to say, I think it's appropriate to say at this time that I wish we'd had more time in between these applications to see how these dispensaries, work in the areas that they've chosen. I'm an optimist, so I really am hopeful that these dispensaries will revitalize the little strip malls that they've chosen to locate in. And I hope that they are a real benefit to the community in which they reside. So having said that, I am prepared to approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional deliberations? Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Yeah, definitely echoing the comments by Commissioner Nash and Commissioner Connolly, looking at the renderings, certainly like the upgrades, the paint, the facelift that the building's gonna get, I think will, just do a lot to change, people's daily commutes and maybe even, enhance the pride that folks feel for their community, for the neighborhood, that they live in, and that neighborhood pride, right? Especially as it's one of the gateways into the city. I'll say I was surprised to see that this is your second license application with us, but I hope that our community treats you well and that you are even that much more generous to us. Unlike the location on A Street, I hope that you're able to get ahead of some of the challenges with the navigation center that the city and the county and the state are investing in. Get ahead of potentially some challenges, add value to some of their program services, maybe funding to things that they just may not have or be able to use their restricted dollars for. And that's unique to the location on A Street. Here on Vineyard, again, the city with its licensing requirements didn't necessarily put a buffer zone between licenses, right? And so it seems like a concentration of our city's licenses are ending up along the Vineyard corridor there, which will present some unique opportunities and challenges. Certainly with some competition. I think like Commissioner Nash said, you're the first that kind of makes reference to delivering as well, and I think that will certainly suit you well. Unlike the A Street, to Mr. Lopez, Adrian, and the team, do really encourage you, take pride in that outreach to the immediate neighborhoods there, the families, try to better understand some of their challenges, their needs. I think El Rio has its own little league also that might be a great opportunity to help those families that perhaps, would not be able to provide that recreation sport for their kids because of the equipment and get invested in that neighborhood as well as just overall. But I like the previous commissioners don't necessarily see a big problem with your application, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that there was no opposition whatsoever from residents, from business owners, either in writing at the public workshop where 11 people showed up, or even in your additional outreach efforts that you all did. So I guess thanks for expressing an interest in growing even more in Oxnard, and I'm prepared to support and will hope that, like I said, you all are even that much more generous to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Commissioner Dr. Lopez. Any additional comments? I'll just say a few comments as I agree with Commissioner Dr. Lopez that our city didn't think it fully through in regards to the oversaturation. And Vineyard Avenue definitely has become our green mile in Oxnard. This location, as well as the other locations along Vineyard, they have two challenges. Not only are they having to address city concerns from our residents, but you're also having to address the concerns from county residents in the El Rio neighborhood. I will suggest that when looking at different locations to donate to and invest in and support, I agree with Commissioner Dr. Lopez, they're Little League. But there's also a library, a very small library, the Solis El Rio Library, which is very small. It's right there off of Strobe, and it is meant to really serve the entire community of El Rio. It's a county, but it's very, very small. They have limited resources there. And, you know, maybe 2 years ago, the Planning Commission, we approved a housing project. And during LAFCO, that was one of the concerns from many of the members, was the impacts to that little library. So consider that in your partnerships. And you know, this is, in my opinion, it's a benefit to have these number of cannabis in this area. This is an area that oftentimes is forgotten, even though half of it is the county and the other half is the city of Oxnard. But the investments that are going to be able to be beneficial to all residents in this area as you're reinvesting and you're giving back. I was surprised to see a second application. So, you know, good job for you for being able to get 2 out of the 16 permits for this one. But I think, again, it's a benefit. You're making upgrades that will change the outlook, and oftentimes just to change the perception of a shopping center or a location, it's usually just a facelift, some paint, some facet improvements, and it makes the world different. So good job. And that will end my comments.
Thank you. Would you mind the name of that library again? I'm sorry.
It's the Solis El Rio. They might go by a different name, but it's right there off of Strobe, just in Jordan and Strobe, right there on that corner.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Again, that's the county's library, and you know, I can't actually tell you what to do, but you know,
No,
something to consider. Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Chair Chavez, and I want to thank you for bringing up that library, which I admit to not knowing much about. But I will tell the applicant that if you want to get a lot of love from me and probably a few other commissioners and members of the El Rio community, I might suggest you investigate, you know, providing internet access so school kids can. From this community can you know, access the internet and do their homework, and you know, I love books, and these, you know, this will endear you certainly to me. So I'm not telling you what to do, but you know, I think Chair Chavez had a great idea on how you could really you know, ingratiate yourself with the community. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
If no one has any more deliberative comments, I'm ready to move the recommended action.
Commissioner Nash, did you have additional comments?
No, second.
Okay, so Commissioner Dr. Lopez with the motion to approve staff's recommendation, and Commissioner Nash with the second. So it has been moved and second that the Planning Commission find the project to be categorically exempt from environmental review pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines, section 15301, existing facilities, and adopt a resolution 2022-XX approving planning and zoning permit number 21-516-13 special use permit cannabis retail, subject to certain findings and conditions. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Secretary, can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Dr. Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Aye.
Commissioner Connolly,
Aye.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Chair Chavez,
Aye.
motion passes.
Thank you and congratulations. With that, we'll go ahead and proceed to our agenda. Our next item is study sessions and reports. Nothing is listed. We'll now move to commission business. Commissioners, any business to bring before the commission? Vice Chair Rejo.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. I had a question for Mr. Rosell. A few meetings ago, I mentioned, and not totally by myself, but in conjunction, in conversation with other commissioners during other debates or deliberations in regards to requesting council to take action to give Planning Commission further guidance in regards to LPAs. If the Planning Commission wanted to do that, does a simple motion just have to be made by the Planning Commission, or should a resolution be drafted to support the action that we're requesting from council? Thank you.
Yes, I'm happy to discuss it in concept. The ability of the Planning Commission to recommend a project labor agreement was based solely upon the fact that there was a development agreement. So if there is not a development agreement as part of the action before the Planning Commission, the Planning Commission would have no authority to even recommend a PLA, because it's not something you can add as a condition to a project that does not have a development agreement. It is within your right, as you did on both the River Park and 4 projects, to recommend to the council that there be a PLA. So it would not take a special action on your part in order to accomplish that. I hope that answers your question. Did you want some other action, or I would appreciate some more clarification?
I don't know if it did, but it's not time sensitive or high priority. And I wanted to at least give a heads up to my fellow Planning Commission members that it could happen in the future, unless they want to bring it up themselves. But I am looking into some type of action. So that's it for now, Ms. Rosell. I'll follow up with you after the meeting if needed. So thank you very much. And thank you, Chair Chavez. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you, Chair. Following up on my request to discuss the meeting timing, is that something, I guess, speaking to staff, that is in the works to be included on an agenda for a future meeting?
Commissioner Meyer and members of the commission, yes, that is something that we'll work with the chair to schedule on a future meeting. We've been running on the treadmill so quickly that we didn't pop it onto this particular agenda, but we will get it onto a future one soon.
Thank you, Mr. Kolowitz. Yeah, it like the vice chair mentioned for his item, it's not time sensitive. It's not a high priority item, and we've been dealing with a lot of high priority and urgent matters. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioner Meyer. Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. One more comment about the dispensary at Oxnard Shores. I hope that the other commissioners had a chance to read Commissioner Dr. Lopez's email to the city council members outlining his reasoning for his vote. I thought that was an exemplary letter, and I was very impressed. And that kind of raises an issue about, I for one can write much better than I can talk. But these meetings are set up whereas we have to think on the fly, and we're not allowed to put our best thoughts, down on paper that can really, nail down why we choose to vote the way we vote. And I know there's really no way around that. We're supposed to hear public testimony and make a decision and not drag these things out. But I might be curious to hear, what Mr. Kolwitz and Mr. Rizal have to say about that. If there's any, if they're aware of any way that we can, I don't know, put our best thoughts forward and not have to always be rushed. So that's my comments. Thank you, Chair Chavez.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Any additional comments from the commission? I'll just say real quick that I had some conversation with Caltrans yesterday. I brought up some of the concerns that the commission had brought up in regards to Vineyard Avenue. I am compiling an email in regards to improvements that would be beneficial to Vineyard Avenue. Again, Caltrans controls Vineyard Avenue, so whatever ends up happening is under their watch. I talked about raised medians, protected bike paths, improved street lighting, improve traffic signal rotations, and to try to, and I did bring up, Commissioner Meyer, your concern in regards to the no U-turn. So that is being compiled into an email so that I can submit to them, and that their operations and planning team can get back to me as to what's feasible and what's not. So I wanted to bring that up, that that's in the works. Thank God for sitting on BCTC that I'm able to have those connections. But another thing that I wanted to bring up, that today was SCAG's Housing Policy Leadership Academy, our first day. It started at 2 p.m. and it went all the way to 5:30. So the change in the start time this evening was actually very beneficial, so that we were able to eat before our meeting this evening. A lot of great information, and it looks like it's going to be a really good next few months, learning about housing and how we can take steps on advocating for responsible and more housing in our communities. Other than that, again, I just thank all of the commissioners for all their work on this. Again, I had a few conversations with a few council members, and they agreed that the work that we do, volunteering, it's a lot, and sometimes it's often overlooked by the members of the public. So we all do it for our community because we care about our community and we want the best for our community. So that's why we invest so much time, time away from our families, time away from eating on a normal schedule, oftentimes during meetings, and reviewing documents that it's a lot. I appreciate our staff for all their work that they do, and our IT team for sticking with us during all of our meetings. Other than that, I have nothing else to say, but thank you. And if there's no additional comments, we'll go ahead and proceed to our next item, which is community development staff updates. Mr. Kolwitz.
Chair Chavez, members of the commission, thank you. So wanted to respond very quickly to Commissioner Nash and his comment that the Planning Commission is thinking on the fly in a very public, open forum. I think the job that all of you have been doing in terms of collecting your thoughts, hearing testimony, taking it in, letting it mold and modify your thoughts, there's not going to be a perfect answer and a perfect eloquent response that you're going to be able to provide to everyone. So that's my long way of saying I think you're doing a great job with a lot of expectations put on all of you. So I wouldn't sweat making things perfect when it comes right down to it. You're all doing a good job. So we would just encourage you to keep on keeping on. And know that staff is here to support you through all of it. And if we can help you with some of your words here and there, we try to help out with that, especially during motion making and during resolution crafting if you're giving us other direction. So just thank you. Taking a step forward from there, I also wanted to express our amazement and appreciation for all of you for running through the cannabis gauntlet that we just finished up. You just took your action on the 15th cannabis retail special use permit. Those are going to be all 15 that you're going to be taking action on before the March 1st deadline. We did, staff tried our hardest to get the 16th one on there, and the applicant team just was not able to pull it off. So our thanks to all of you for taking it seriously and getting the job done. So with that, the next thing I get to share is actually the fun thing, which is your March 3rd meeting is canceled. So enjoy that well-deserved day off, and we'll see you back on the 17th. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Colwitz. Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Mr. Klowitz. Can you clarify to me then what happens to the 16th dispensary opening? Do they get an extension, or are they out of the game?
I'll be happy to address that question. As you know, the council authorized up to 16 dispensaries, and the city manager on March 1st of 2021 approved a list of 16 dispensaries. 3 were local equity and 13 were non-local equity. So during the process, during that 1-year period, the city received questions from some of the operators, potential operators, who didn't make the top 16, but still had leases or own buildings and wanted to know what the city's intentions were. So during that time frame, the city did send notice to via email, stating that if any of the operators did not make the March 1st deadline, then we would pull from the list as of at that date. So as of next Tuesday, when it closes, we'll look to see the number of slots that are available. At this point, there's 1, and then we'll basically allow the next in line to file an application. So as you know, the process will take a while, so you will not be seeing an item before the Planning Commission on the cannabis license for probably a few months, but we'll see how that process goes. So we do know that there is one that will be coming forward here, though, in the next few months.
Anything else, Commissioner Nash? No. Commissioner Meyer, I saw your hand up. Change of mind?
Same question as Commissioner Nash.
Okay. Any additional questions, comments? Nope. Okay. I did have a question, and then I forgot it. So I guess I'll just email you later, Mr. Colwitz, about that. Well, since there's no further business for the commission, and if there's no objection to adjourning before an hour, that's kudos for us. We were able to conduct the whole meeting in less than an hour. We will be adjourned to our next regular meeting for Thursday, March 17th at 6 p.m. As always, thank you for all your guys' work and participation from staff, the public. Stay safe, and see you at our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you all.